Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars, the Black Series, 3 3/4 inch scale, Kylo Ren, Walmart exclusive figure. Okay, you guys, so looking here at the packaging, it is the same as we have been seeing with the Walmart exclusive Star Wars 3 3/4 inch Black Series figures. The figure is nicely showcased within the packaging, as well as his accessories. You get an image of Kylo Ren down on the lower right, and on the lower left it says Kylo Ren. Side of the packaging shows us a little glimpse into the package so you can see the side of the figure, and it says Kylo Ren. Then you get this really faint lettering that you can barely see that also says Kylo Ren, but it doesn't spell out his whole name because there's not enough room. The opposite side, you guessed it, says Kylo Ren, and it's just a red stripe going down. And just in case you forgot, the back also says Kylo Ren because, short-term memory and all. You get a picture of the character on the side, and then it says, a dark warrior, strong with the Force, Kylo Ren commands First Order missions with a temper as fiery as his unconventional lightsaber. And I think pretty much every Kylo Ren figure in all scales has had that description on it. It says Disney and Hasbro, and then at the bottom you get the barcode right there. Alright you guys, so now that we have Kylo out of the box, the aesthetics here are really good. Just like the 6-inch figure, they really did a great job taking the character and bringing him down into action figure form. I do think he looks to be a little bit on the skinny side, but still pretty good proportions nonetheless. Unfortunately, Kylo is a little bit hard to stand. You can see that I have him standing only because he's kind of in this little weird stance with his legs kind of sticking out. It's kind of unfortunate, but we're going to take a closer look and see why that might be. And just like with the 6-inch figure, what you get here is a mix of plastic as well as soft goods, which is a pretty interesting balance of the two. And being part of the Black Series line, of course, Kylo has quite a bit of articulation and comes with some really nice accessories. Give you a close-up here of the head, and you can see it's a very nicely done sculpt. And it's very interesting because they sculpted the head as well as the scarf, I guess if you want to call that, all as one piece. So it is all one piece, and if you move it, it moves all together. I'm not so sure that I love that. I mean, I get kind of why they did that. I mean, aesthetically it looks really good, but functionality wise, it's not that great because you can't really move the head. They did a really nice job with that mask. Very nicely painted, and I really like the mixture of some matte black and some shinier black elements, like with the visor, and then of course the silver that you see there on the mask. Just very nicely done. Really good texture on his cowl. I think that looks really, really good. And the sculpt work on the back side of the scarf is really nice looking. Lots of good texture there. The rest of the outfit as well, you get a lot of nice texturing here on the shirt and on the sleeves. I do feel that his arms look a little bit on the skinny side. Same with the waist. I think it's a little bit too narrow. But the belt itself is really nicely done. Nice paint detail on it. Kind of like a rubbery feel to it. The bottom part of his cloak is this soft goods material, and it kind of looks like a sports jersey, and it's a little bit mesh. You can kind of see through it right there. And underneath that you get the sculpted robes, and that's pretty much the same thing they did with the 6-inch figure, which we'll take a look at in just a little bit here. And it's just a very interesting combination of both soft goods and plastic. Now looking there at the legs, you can see they did a pretty good job sculpting them. There's a lot of wrinkles in his pants. Same with the boots. You get a lot of nice sculpting in there, and they're a little bit glossy, and the overall aesthetic here is quite good. One thing I don't like a whole lot about this sort of soft goods is that it seems kind of frayed along the edges. And I know that in the movie his outfit was kind of like that, but I don't know. It just kind of seems to me like over time, I don't know how that's going to hold up. And also in the back, you get this pretty noticeable seam, which I'm not a huge fan of. In the way of articulation, once again, the whole head is connected to the rest of the scarf. So it is on a ball joint, but you can't really do a whole lot with it for that reason. He's got ball hinging up under the shoulders, and you get a pretty good range of movement with it. They are a little bit stiff, especially when you try and bring them out, but they work pretty well. You get hinging at both of the elbows, and it doesn't get a full 90 degrees, but it moves quite a bit. You get a bend and swivel at both of the wrists, and they actually move upward and downward. They do not move side to side, just up and down. You get a ball joint at the torso, but you can't really use it other than going side to side. It does go up and down just a little bit, but it's essentially useless. You get hinging at both of the hips. Now, these are a bit restricted because of the cape, but if you move them out of the way, as you can see, you can do a very nice Sith split, we'll call it. He's got a hinging at both of the knees, and I kind of have a problem with this because, let me pull his leg out here for you to see. When you bend it back, it doesn't go back any more than that. Like, I've played around with it, and it's just not a very good, this engineering just isn't that good for his legs. And I think that's partly why he's difficult to stand. Here's the other leg. I'll just bring it back. That one seems to move a little bit more, but you still can't like move it back all that much. And yeah, that's just kind of difficult to work with. As far as the ankles go, you do get your hinging there. It doesn't have ankle pivots, but you can move them up and down and, you know, spin them around. So I think because the legs are like that, it is kind of hard to get him to stand properly. Now, in terms of accessories, you get Kylo Ren's lightsaber, and you get two of them. You get the lit up one, which is right here, and it looks really, really good. The hilt is very nicely painted, very nicely sculpted. Lots of good little detail on there. I really like the metallic look. I like the wiring on there. Just a very solid looking lightsaber. Very nice sculpt work on the blades. And it's a very nice, deep, rich red color, which I'm a huge fan of, because a lot of the time with these figures, we get red that turns out too orangey or, you know, just too light. This looks perfect. And believe it or not, they actually went through the trouble of giving us a different sculpt. This one here on the left is the one that came with the 5-point of articulation, the Force Awakens basic Kylo Ren. And as you can see, it's a fatter hilt. It's not quite as long, and it's just less detailed. It looks metallic, but it's very, very simply done. And the blades are also thinner on the Black Series version as well. Just has a very nice aesthetic to it compared to the original one, and I really dig it. Now, you do get a lightsaber hilt, which is awesome because, you know, it just makes it so much easier when your figure comes with the hilt as well, so you have some options. Compare it there for you with the lit lightsaber, and they're pretty similar in appearance. Go ahead and bring in the 5-point of articulation Kylo Ren, and you can see that the Black Series one is just a little bit taller. Here's the thing, you guys. With the 5-point of articulation figures, I think that a lot of the time they have very nice sculpts, but of course they are limited in terms of detail and articulation. Just comparing the two side by side, I really feel that although we have very nice articulation with the Black Series Kylo Ren, the 5-point of articulation one just seems to have better proportions. He's not quite as lanky as the Black Series one. The arms aren't too skinny. He doesn't have this very high-waisted look to him. And I think that utilizing the plastic from top to bottom on the 5-point of articulation version just leads for a better aesthetic at this scale. I think it actually worked very nicely with the 6-inch figure, but with the Black Series 3 3/4-inch Kylo Ren, I don't think the aesthetic is quite as good as it worked with the 6-inch counterpart. So I really feel that the 5-point of articulation guy looks more natural and just a little bit more realistic. And I do feel that the Black Series one has a nicer looking cloak for sure. It looks more like it did in the film, looks a little bit better. But the rest of the body, I don't know, you guys. I kind of feel like the 5-point of articulation one just looks a little bit better. And just for the fun of it, I went ahead and switched both of their heads. And I do think the 5-point of articulation one now looks a good bit better, since I do think that the head sculpt is nicer, has a nicer draping hood. And now I'll bring in the 6-inch Black Series version so you can see it side by side with the 3 3/4-inch Black Series figure. And like I said earlier, I think that the use of soft goods works a lot better on the 6-inch figure, largely because they used it not only on the lower half of the body like they did with the small guy, but on the bigger one, it's even on the top of his body, like you could see it going up his abdomen. So I think that that works in his favor. If they would have taken that and done it here, that probably would have looked better. But just doing it half and half like that, to me, just doesn't look as good as it could have. I do prefer the plastic hood, though, on the 3 3/4-inch figure, whereas on the 6-inch one, since it's soft goods, it's hard to get it to drape properly around his mask. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars, the Black Series, 3 3/4-inch Kylo Ren Walmart exclusive figure. Overall, you guys, it's a nice figure, but it really falls short of what I expected. I think that the aesthetics for the most part are good. I'm a huge fan of the look of the mask, as well as the way that the hood drapes around the mask. And the scarf, even though it's connected to the rest of the head, which I'm not a huge fan of, still looks really good. The articulation, for the most part, is very nicely done. Of course, it is very unfortunate how his knees do not function very well in terms of the joints that he was given. The accessories are very nice. Love the lightsaber he comes with. I think the hilt is very nicely detailed, and the blades are a very nice shade of red, very nicely sculpted. And it's great that he comes with an extra hilt. But the figure is still too lanky, and I really don't feel that the way that they did only soft goods on the lower half of the body does him any justice. They should have modeled it more after the 6-inch figure or just gone entirely plastic. It's not a bad figure by any means, but again, it does really fall short. If Hasbro took this back to the drawing board and followed more closely to the aesthetics of either the 6-inch or just making the whole thing plastic and making the head silver independently from the rest of the scarf and gave him better knees, it would be a solid figure in my book. I'd probably rate it very highly, but for what we got here on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go ahead and give this Kylo Ren a 7. It's passable, I accept it, but it really should have been better than what it turned out to be. Alright my friends, if you enjoyed this video, then I do encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this Kylo Ren figure, whether or not you are planning on picking it up. Am I wrong in thinking that the 5-point of articulation figure just looks and functions a little bit better? Let me know. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for the latest collecting news and updates. And as always, I do want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time my friends, bye bye.